I've got a question for you. When you drive a car, are you a better driver with a blindfold on or without a blindfold on? And if the answer to that question is so obvious to you, then why are so many eBay resellers running their business with a blindfold? Understanding your eBay reseller funnel can help you fix and diagnose problems with your business and understand why sales are good or why sales are bad. This is the eBay funnel. Impressions is at the very top. That's a measure of how many times your listing is shown across eBay. That doesn't necessarily correlate to how many times someone sees your listing. It could be at the bottom of the screen and a buyer never sees it. It's just how many times your listing appears on someone's screen. The metric right underneath that is views. That's how many times your listing is clicked on and visited by a potential buyer. And quantity sold is the total number of items that you sold over a specific period of time. If you go to the performance menu and click on traffic in eBay, you can see your own impressions, views, and quantity sold. But what does it all mean? If you don't understand these numbers, you're just looking at gibberish and it means nothing to you. But I'm going to break down exactly what you should be looking for in these metrics and how they can help you diagnose and fix problems with your own business. So I have my own eBay reseller funnel that I made for myself here, and I just took the data for every single month so far in 2023 and averaged it all together. eBay doesn't do this for you, so I highly suggest that you run these numbers for yourself and look at your own averages to create a sort of baseline for yourself. But I'm going to show you my numbers here to give you something to start with. So my average monthly impressions on eBay is almost 8 million, and out of all of those impressions, I get about 21,000 views per month. So my click-through rate every time a listing is shown to a buyer is 0.27% on average. And out of those clicks or views, my quantity sold per month on average is 436 or 2.04%. So what is this information actually telling me? This shows me how many times eBay is showing my listings to people. It shows me what percent of time those people will decide to click on my listing. And it shows me out of the people that click on my listings, what percentage of those people go on to purchase my items. So these are very valuable numbers and very, very valuable data to have. If you have slow sales, one or more of these metrics is not looking good. I'm going to tell you how to diagnose and fix every single metric. Starting with impressions, I average nearly 8 million impressions per month on eBay. If your impressions are lower than normal, there are a few reasons why that may be. There are some factors that are in your control, which is what I'm going to start with, and some that are not in your control, which I'll get to later. But out of your control, listing more frequently will mean that your items will be shown to buyers more. If new items are constantly going into your store, you will get more impressions as new items move to the top of search in eBay. So just listing more raises your impressions, and promoting your items raises your impressions. I do not believe the percentage you promote at matters significantly, but promoting your listings can more than double your impressions. Over 50% of my impressions are from promoted listings. And using eBay auctions, I'm not a big fan of eBay auctions, but using auctions does help raise your impressions. I noticed an anomaly when I was looking at my data. My highest month for impressions and views was the month that I decided to run auctions, and it was also a month that I made, I think it was either my biggest or second biggest selling month of the year. So using auctions every now and then can help give your store a boost when times are slow. eBay shows auctions to more buyers since they run for a limited amount of time. And listing items that are in demand help raises impressions. It sounds like common sense, but if you list something that a lot of people want, that will be shown to a lot more people than something that not many people at all want. So that's what you can do to raise impressions, but there are factors not in your control that could lower your impressions. If there are just less customers browsing eBay, you won't get as many impressions. This could be for many different reasons. It could be that the economy is a little bit slower. It might be that eBay as a platform is just in decline. There are so many different reasons why less people might be on eBay. And seasonality of certain items can affect your impressions. eBay is slower in certain months and seasons, and depending on what you sell, your impressions may be higher or lower at certain times of year. For many sellers, the holiday season is one of the best times of year, and during other times of the year, such as in the summer when kids are off from school and everybody's going on vacations, sales can be much slower. And views. So if your impressions are really good, but you're not getting a significant number of views, what's the problem there? I know that an average of 0.27% of my impressions turn into clicks and views. So if my sales are slow, what I'm going to do is look at the percentage of views or my click-through rate and the percentage of items sold. So let's say that my views are down. Why could that be? Look at your images, titles, and prices. That's what buyers see when they decide to click on your item or not click on your item. So if they aren't clicking, something's wrong with your price, with your title, or with your image. Buyers shop with their eyes, so make sure that your images accurately reflect the item you're selling and are as appealing as possible without being misleading. And buyers will look at titles if they're looking for more information that they couldn't get from the picture. Put any details about your item here and try to use all 80 characters if possible. Generally, you want to put the more important words first in the title or near the beginning of the title. The title should be used to describe the item, not work a buyer into a frenzy. In my experience, when you put words like wow, incredible, or look, or rare, or things like that, it doesn't really help the buyer to click on your item or generate more clicks. If a buyer wants it or is interested in it, they're going to click on it. They don't need you to try and sell them in your eBay title. And the big one here that many people overlook, if the price of an item is too high, buyers may not have any interest in clicking on it. So if you're suffering from a low percentage of clicks, you might try running a sale, starting a coupon, or just lowering prices across the board. Now the big one, quantity sold. This is the bottom line. You can have all the impressions and all the views in the world, but it does not matter if those are not converting to items sold. I know that my quantity sold out of the percentage viewed is 2.04%. That's also called your sales conversion rate. You need to know your average percentage conversion rate to know if you have a problem with buyers purchasing your items. So if they aren't converting to sales at a decent rate, you aren't making any money. If the percentage of items you're selling isn't where you'd like and your items are getting a good amount of impressions and views, then price is likely the issue. So unlike the other metrics where some of it may be eBay's fault with impressions if they're down and views can have several different causes, quantity sold is basically dependent on price. So if your prices are low enough, if I lowered all of my postcards to a penny, let's say, then my sell-through rate would probably be close to 100% because buyers would have no reason not to buy them if it was 100 or if it was 1 cent for every single postcard. So I know sellers with much better sell-through rates than mine, but the average sold price is much lower. Mine's about $16 currently. But on the other hand, I'm sure there are sellers out there with lower sell-through rates than mine that have higher priced items. So you might get, or might see where I'm going with this. This is a push and pull, and it's kind of a balancing act that you have to play between price and quantity sold. If you raise the price of your items, you will or may make more money per item, but your sell-through rate will be lower. If you lower the price of your items, your sell-through rate will probably go up, but you will be making less money. So like I said, this is a balancing act. At the end of the day, you just need to decide how you personally want to run your business. You can have a lot of success with a very low sell-through rate if you have a lot of items listed for a higher price. I know one postcard reseller on eBay, and if you are a postcard reseller, you probably know who I'm talking about, but they price just about all of their postcards at $29.95 or $19.95 or make an offer. But they have so many listed, I think 70,000 or 80,000 the last time I checked, that it doesn't matter that their prices are exorbitant. They sell enough and have a high enough sell-through rate off of that, even though it's probably well under 1%, that they make enough money. So you can use that model. And I know several other sellers that are bigger than I am that have maybe 20,000, 30,000, 40,000 listed, and their prices are lower than me, but they're selling a much greater quantity of items. I think I've calculated some sellers have sell-through rates of around 6% or 7%. So it's really just something that you need to decide for yourself where you want to be. And if you're not where you want to be, your sell-through rate could be too high, then you might need to raise your prices. Or if your sell-through rate is too low, then you might need to lower your prices. Set a target sell-through rate for yourself. Go back and look at your average and decide if you're happy with that number, if you want to raise that number or lower that number. If you do want to raise your sell-through rate, you can try lowering your prices, starting coupons, or running a discount or sale. And if you want to lower your sell-through rate, that's very easy to do. All you have to do is raise prices across the board. Impressions, views, and quantity sold are all vital statistics about your business. I see some resellers out there that only care about the bottom line, only care about the dollars sold and quantity sold every single month. And while that's fine, the bottom line is really all that matters at the end of the day, the money coming in. But these other numbers control your bottom line. So the number of impressions you're getting and the number of views you're getting controls the number of sales you're getting. If your sales are lower on eBay, then you might have a problem with impressions or views. So to sum it up, if your impressions are low, try promoting your listings if you aren't already, listing more items, or running auctions. Those can all help raise your impressions on eBay and help that metric out. If your click-through rate is low or views are down, make sure that your title and images are appealing and accurately reflect what you're selling. I know for a lot of more experienced and seasoned sellers, their images and titles are already on point. So in that case, you may need to look at running a discount or a sale to get more views and traffic to your items. And the last bottom line here, if your sell-through rate or quantity sold is lower, then price is probably the issue, because if a buyer clicks on your item, that already means that they were shown it by eBay, so your impression is there, and that means they clicked on your item, so that means they were at least interested enough to visit it. So the problem must be the price. If they are interested in your item, then the price is just too high. So if that is the case, try lowering your prices, sending out more generous offers, or running a coupon or sale. I shared all of my data here with you, and I love doing that, but I am just one seller at the end of the day. I believe if that we put all of our data together, everyone would benefit and would be able to identify what they are doing well or where they are struggling. I would love to put together an anonymous seller survey and then make a video about that data. So if you'd like to see averages for all of these metrics and more of other sellers just like you, please let me know in the comments and I can get to work on that seller survey. I think it would be so awesome to have, and there's so much valuable data we can get from it that will help all of us as resellers. And I do want to make the seller survey anonymous because I know some people obviously have qualms about sharing data about their business and don't want to just be copied or ripped off by others of their practices, and that's totally fine. I want this to be 100% helpful and not harmful to anyone. So please let me know in the comments if you're interested in that, and I'll get to work on that right away. You can also reach out to me by email, dmay@hey.com, if you have any ideas for what I should include in the survey, or if you just have any thoughts or general questions. But thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope that it helps you out.